Manchester United in 7th. They will not be in the Champions League next season. Rumours all day about David Moyes' future. Across all networks being reported that David Moyes likely to be sacked within 24 hours. Gary Neville, your reaction?
Well, I fear for him in that we see, I think a couple of weeks ago when these explosions happen where all media outlets, as you say, completely just go wild, and usually it ends up inevitably in a manager getting sacked. And I have to say, Manchester United is a football club. This is just me. I've not spoken to anybody at the club today. You have to say that usually they don't comment on anything, but they're going to have to clarify this position quickly. Because, like you say, this afternoon, just strangely, and I find it repulsive the way in which these rumours break. The way I said it a couple of weeks ago, I don't like it. I'll never get used to it, even though I suppose it's the world that we live in. But I think it needs to be clarified pretty quickly by the club, and they might have to break rank and do what they don't normally do, and that's make a statement pretty quickly.
Would you be surprised if it was true? Because all season, Gary, you've been saying Manchester United are not a sacking club. He will get time.
That's my honest belief. That's what I've been at a club and supported a club for 15, 20 years, played for a club for 18 years, so I've been associated with them for 30 odd years, and that's what I always believe. Dave Sexton, Ron Atkinson, people will say it's at different times. Alex Ferguson himself got time in his early years when it was difficult for him. So I genuinely believe when you give a man a 6-year contract that he deserves the opportunity and the time, and professionally, out of respect. You know, the reason we're sat here is because we look at football management and think it has been a world of madness. An absolute world of madness where the average manager gets sacked every 12 months. And I've always felt that Manchester United should be different, hold itself up as a club that basically stands against, if you like, what's happening in the game. We used to laugh at Italy 20 years ago and say that it's ridiculous what happens there. Now we've almost become accustomed to it. I think fans are well within their rights. They're the only people, but I don't like it when professional people, you know, if you think about people inside the game, come out with statements to suggest that a manager should be sacked. It's not something that you'll ever hear from me because it's a difficult job, something that I've never done. And like I say, for David Moyes, I do fear for him because of the explosion that's happened today. But I'm hoping the club will just come out and clarify it, and maybe it won't be true. But
Gary, were there signs yesterday's game, that the players weren't playing for him?
Look, it's the easiest thing in the world, that the desire question. And, you know, we've watched it a lot of times over this last 2 or 3 years, games where you think it's the easiest conclusion to come to. You know, 10 days ago in Bayern Munich for an hour and against Bayern Munich 2 weeks ago, those players were fighting for their lives, playing against the best team in Europe and actually holding their own for parts of that game. Yesterday was a poor performance, and some of the performances this season have been shocking, I have to say. I mean, well below the acceptable levels, totally unacceptable, and it's not doing David Moyes any favours. Yesterday was a really poor performance. Make no mistake about that. You know, the idea that they had possession is a waste of time. I called it meaningless during the match, and I don't change my stance on that. That's not Manchester United. Manchester United have cutting-edge brutality in attacks. You know, they go and win games, they go and destroy teams with that level of possession. The idea that you just keep the ball and sort of faff around in the middle of the pitch looking pretty, that's a waste of time to me. We actually have a go at Arsenal 2-3 weeks ago when they went to the Goodison Park and did some similar things. Exactly the same as what I saw yesterday. Not good enough.
Jamie, do you think David Moyes will be sacked?
I think it's inevitable in terms of what's come out today. It's for all the local journalists, you know, around Manchester, all come out with that story straight away at the same time. It's obviously been leaked from the club. Something's come out. You may say it's not the Manchester United way, but for everyone to do that at once, something has come out. I've always been with you and said David Moyes should be given at least 18 months, 2 years, buy his own players, bring them in. But there are times when a club or a manager becomes untenable. That's the word I'd use. What you've said about Manchester United, I'd link Liverpool exactly the same. Give managers time. But we had Roy Hodgson come in, and you're thinking to yourself, OK, he comes in, it doesn't start well, but let's give him time. But eventually the results and performances are that poor that you think, what you do? And as I said, it becomes untenable. Roy Hodgson lost his job, and that's not the Liverpool way. I've had other managers who've had what you could call poor first season. Look at Brendan Rodgers last year. Liverpool finished 7th. But up until Christmas, it was very poor. But he brings Sturridge and Coutinho. Then the results at the end of the season was top 4 form. So it gave you that hope and belief things were going to get better. Rafa Benitez's first season in the league wasn't great, but we had the Champions League to keep us going. Big night, and you believe things will get better. Watching Manchester United, I don't think any of the results, performances are giving you hope or belief that things are going to improve.
There's no doubt that this transition from the end of Sir Alex Ferguson, I would put David Gill in that category as well, has been tough. Make no mistake about it. I think for 10 years, everyone feared at the club, you know, what would happen when Sir Alex Ferguson left, when David Gill left. If you think about it this year, David Gill probably was needed by David Moyes, and probably Ed Woodward needed Sir Alex Ferguson to bed them both in. They both had to get used to the new jobs together. It's proven to be tough for them both. I would personally always think that managers should be given a period of time of a couple of years to be able to bed their own team in. The fact of the matter is, I have to say it concerns me when I see the weight of it, the explosion this afternoon and the way in which it occurred. You know, that club for 20 odd years has contained information, and it's managed information. At the moment, like I say, this afternoon was completely, for me, off the scale of what I've seen, like nothing else at the club in the last 20 odd years.